We're south of Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know what, an hour maybe. And stopped at a rest stop. Here's pretty Linda. There's our bus up there. Wow. It's a little bit nippy to go swimming though, isn't it?
Nice to walk up and down.
Uh-huh.
They got an inside pool. Pool.
Oh, this is gorgeous. Oh yeah.
Now, I could have gone for 45, but he was all the way at the top like that. So he's not there. I'm sitting second row to the top. I'm going 45 hours.
Your food is on the next drop out.
Don't drop it.
Did you want me to go out there and Hey Linda? is, isn't it? Find you a good one. Did you find a good one? That sure is beautiful.
Hawaii is out there. May I come into your beautiful house? I see the maid has not been here for your bed yet this morning. What a view out your window. Away from that post. Pretty good shot of the water. guided tours.
Zal dezelfde grootte zijn, hè?
Take a look at it, be sure it's okay.
That's okay.
I like the
It's just we go out on these trips and we come home with pictures of marbles.
Yeah. You want to get up here and let him? Coba.
This is the Gemini.
And this is the big one to the moon, isn't it? Look at that engine. And we board the Apollo 11. Class of kids going in the Center for Space Education over there.
This is all the further I'm going.
As we go by, notice the red metal plate on the ground underneath it. That's the flame deflector or blast deflector for that rocket. The shuttle had to have a flame trench underneath it that was 58 feet wide, 42 feet deep, and 450 feet long. Another comparison with launch control was
View of our amazing future. Again, welcome to the John F. Kennedy Space Center.
building, High Bay 3, they'll erect a rocket on top of it. After everything checks out, then it'll take it along the crawler way to pad 39B for launch. Everything I just said will be on the video monitors.
The large tower next to the VAB is the mobile launcher being built for SLS. When completed, it will carry the massive launch vehicle on top of the crawler transporter to pad 39B. You will learn more about the launch of SLS when we get to the launch pad. Adjacent to the VAB is the Launch Control Center, the distinctively shaped four-story building which houses the launch team. This is where the ground controllers, engineers, and launch director monitor the spacecraft and manage all the activities leading up to launch.
Cushion the ride as the crawler goes over it. It pulverizes the rock and has to be regraded after every trip. As I make my turn, looking out the left side of the bus at the massive crawler way, from pad A, from the vehicle assembly building behind us, to pad A, the crawlerway's length is 3.5 miles long. From the VAB behind us to pad B, the crawlerway's length is 4.2 miles long, a difference of 8,600 feet.
We are now approaching launch. It was constructed for the Apollo program and is where all 12 moonwalkers began their historic journeys. You'll learn more about the Apollo program when you get to the Apollo Saturn V Center. Following the end of the Apollo program, Pad 39A was the site that launched Skylab, the first U.S. space station to orbit the Earth, on May 14, 1973. Skylab provided America's initial experience with long-duration spaceflight. During 1973 and 1974, 3 Skylab crews were launched on missions of 28, 59, and 84 days. The first space shuttle mission was launched from here on April 12, 1981. Over a period of 30 years, there were a total of 135 shuttle missions. 82 lifted off from this launch pad. The reusable space shuttle system transformed the way we operate in space. The space shuttle launched dozens of communication satellites, as well as robotic spacecraft on groundbreaking missions to Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. Not only did the shuttle deploy the Hubble Space Telescope in 1990, but it conducted 5 repair and upgrade missions that enabled the Hubble to literally rewrite astronomy textbooks. The Space Shuttle program ultimately assured its place in history with the complex on-orbit assembly of the International Space Station, the ISS. The shuttle made 37 flights to construct the station, which is larger than an American football field and can be seen at night orbiting Earth with the naked eye. This unique scientific platform allows researchers from all over the world to work on innovative experiments and help to enable NASA's long-term human exploration plans.
Okay, folks, if you're sitting on the wrong side of the bus, don't worry, we'll be back this way in just a few minutes. To the left of us is a crawler transporter with a mobile launch platform on top of it. It was built in the early 1960s by the Marion Power Shovel Company of Marion, Ohio. It was shipped here in segments and assembled on site. It is the largest self-track powered vehicle in the world. Where the two is the mobile launch platform at 9 million pounds by itself. The crawler transporter is sitting underneath at 6 million. It's got a glass enclosed operator's cab on opposite corners. It's got 2 gears, forward and neutral. It's got a roof surface area the size of a baseball infield. It's got diesel engine power generators running electric motors over the tracks. Speed, loaded, it heads out to the pad at 0.03. Empty to race back around 0.08. Fuel mileage is 32 feet a gallon. That's 150 gallons of diesel fuel per mile. We'll talk more about that on the way back.
Pad 39A has begun yet another transformation. Commercial developer SpaceX is modifying the pad to launch a larger version of their Falcon 9 rocket called the Falcon Heavy. SpaceX is also building a crew capsule capable of carrying astronauts and will launch crews to the International Space Station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program. Another commercial provider to support NASA's crew transportation is Boeing. They named their capsule the CST-100. Like SpaceX, Boeing's capsule will begin flying to the station later this decade. They will launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station just a few miles from here on a modified Atlas V rocket. With private industry stepping up to support low Earth orbit missions to the ISS, NASA can focus more heavily on deep space exploration, which you will learn about at Launchpad 39B.
Okay, folks, to the front left of the bus, all this configuration is SpaceX. This is their horizontal integration facility. As you know, we at NASA, we build our rockets vertically, we launch them vertically. SpaceX builds them horizontally, but will launch them vertically. It's taken them about a month and a half to assemble their facility this far. And their targeted date is in 2017, where they will launch our astronauts and payloads to the International Space Station. Once completed, will house a Falcon 9 rocket and a Falcon Heavy, which is 3 rockets strapped together with 27 engines around it. Looking back at pad 39A, the tallest point is that 80-foot tall white lightning tower mast on the top, approximately the same size as the Mercury Redstone rocket that you saw earlier. Just beneath that is the fixed service structure. What you're looking at is the actual top 2/3 using the Apollo program. At that point, the mobile launch platform would have been attached. The rocket, the tower, and the platform would all come down and crawl away together. Just beneath the fixed service structure is the rotating service structure. Now, the rotating service structure would swing around to the shuttle like your refrigerator front door to protect it and allow our technicians to work on it while it was on the pad. In the center of the rotating service structure is a large white rectangular area. That is the payload changeout room. Prior to launch, the payload, they would fill up a canister at the International Processing Station facility. Bring it out here, lift it up into that area, get rid of the old canister first, rotate the payload to the orbiter, rotate to the orbiter, and then have a clean room to transfer the payload in a clean room environment. As I make my turn, looking out the front right side of the bus, we can see Cape Canaveral Air Force Station's most 3 active pads. The closest pad to us with 4 lighting towers is pad 41, where United Launch Alliance launched the Atlas V rocket. The next set of 4 towers is pad 40, where SpaceX launches the Falcon 9 rocket. And the third and furthest one is pad 37B, where United Launch Alliance again launched the Delta IV rocket. In front of us is a road. Oh, that was a big alligator there, back there. In front of us is a road, a dune, and then the ocean. All the launch facilities are built up and down the coast. We have over 40 miles of pristine beaches, some of the best sea turtle nesting in the world. And as I approach this stop sign, about a mile or so down the road to the right is the famous astronaut beach house. Now in the early days, such as 1959, 1961, astronauts typically would spend the night there, but these days it's been transformed to more of a meeting facility. Astronauts still have first chance at it, but these days they are more likely to have a barbecue and enjoy spending time on the beach with their family. Okay, looking out the left side of the bus at that water tower, it holds about 300,000 gallons of water and another 100,000 gallons in the pipelines. All that water is introduced to the bed 20 or 30 seconds at launch. Now you think with that much water they were trying to control the heat, but that's not the case. They were trying to deaden the sound. They didn't want the sound waves bouncing back up and damaging the shuttle. So when you watch a launch on TV and you see that massive white cloud, it's mostly steam. Get your cameras ready. There's going to be a break in the brush to the left of the bus with the vehicle assembly building in the background and a fuel storage tank in the foreground. Please do so quickly, for I cannot stay here long. Space Station is by way of the Russian Soyuz rocket, but with the commercial crew program, including private partners such as Boeing and SpaceX, working to develop rocket systems to provide safe, reliable, and cost-effective transport to low Earth orbit, thus allowing NASA to focus on deep space exploration, with the exception of the 3 lighting towers that are 600 foot tall, taller than the vehicle assembly building. As you look up, you see a maze of cables. 1-inch thick stainless steel cables. These were used to attract the electrical energy and deflect it down around the rockets to the ground. We didn't want to blow our rockets up. As you look over your right shoulder, you see a white globe sphere on the horizon. That's a fuel storage tank. That was filled with liquid hydrogen, and the one on the left side of the pad was filled with liquid oxygen. Both cryogenic fuels several hundred degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. These were the fuels used in the orange external fuel tank, which held a little over 500,000 gallons, and would last the shuttle's 3 main engines just over 8 minutes. Looking back at pad 39B, we launched the Apollo 10 moon mission from there. We sent up the Apollo, the Russians sent up the Soyuz. They docked in space, shook hands, and that was the beginning of the end of the Cold War. John Glenn was the oldest person to go back into space at the age of 77. Remember, he orbited the Earth in 1962. He is now 94 years old and the only surviving member of the original Mercury 7. So we launched the ill-fated Space Shuttle Challenger from there in January 1986. Okay, folks, to the front left of the bus are flame deflectors. They were located above the flame trench beneath the mobile launch platform. They were used to channel the flames of blast down into the flame trench. Therefore, these two are called side deflectors. At the back where they're scorched, they were hit by the two solid rocket boosters. And at the front where they're scorched, they were hit by the three main shuttle engines. They're made out of a plate of concrete material. We believe they're going to rebuild them and use them again.
Is obvious, as at Launch Pad 39B. Built as an identical pad to 39A for the Apollo Saturn V rocket, Pad B was also updated for the Space Shuttle program. 53 shuttle missions launched from this pad, including 12 missions to help construct or resupply the space station. Today, the pad is being modified for the Space Launch System, or SLS. It will be used for NASA's deep space missions beyond Earth orbit, including the capture of an asteroid and, eventually, human exploration of Mars. 3 600-foot-tall masts were built near the pad to provide lightning protection to the vehicles prior to launch. Both the fixed service structure and rotating service structure that were built for the shuttle have been removed, making it more flexible and able to support many different launch vehicles. Below the pad is a 4-story facility that houses the infrastructure needed for launch, including power, hydraulics, and water. Several miles of outdated wiring and cables have been removed and replaced with high-speed fiber optics. The first SLS mission carrying a crew aboard the Orion spacecraft is set to launch on a 3-week trip to orbit the moon to demonstrate the capabilities necessary for NASA to conduct an asteroid retrieval mission. SLS vehicles will evolve to support human deep space missions, in addition to robotic missions and astronomical observatories. In the past, such missions have been limited by the size and capabilities of existing rockets. The SLS payload carrier is large enough to hold 9 school buses. And for NASA's missions to the outer planets, its larger propulsion systems would enable more direct trajectories, reducing mission travel time and increasing actual mission time by years. Previous spacecraft have had to make multiple gravity assist maneuvers around the inner planets to reach the velocity needed, costing valuable time.
Okay, folks, looking out the right side of the bus at that crawler transporter with the mobile launch platform on top of it, sorry about that, is where it's parked is a staging area. They would deliver the shuttle to the pad and fall back just this far to wait for launch. It's still close enough if there was a mechanical issue or a hurricane approaching, they could run back out to the bag, get the shuttle, and run it back to the barn, the vehicle assembly building. Where the 2 is on there, we've got 3 mobile launch platforms, 2 crawler transporters, and these are used pedestals in the fence. Now that crawler transporter has 2 2,500-gallon tanks, one on either side, totaling 5,000 gallons, but it still gets 32 feet to the gallon. It raises 26 feet, it recesses to 20 feet. They've incorporated some modern technology on the top of that mobile launch platform. They put a 60-foot long hydraulic arm on the top to assist centering the shuttle. And they've widened the exhaust port on the top.
We explore to gain knowledge, to push the boundaries of possibility, and to reveal the unknown.
We seek to discover, to find answers, here on Earth and in space.
Was Mars once an Earth-like planet with water and an atmosphere? What happened? Can the same thing happen here on Earth?
What about asteroids? Is there something we can do to prevent a big one from colliding with Earth?
We can go to Mars in our lifetime and answer some of humanity's fundamental questions about life beyond Earth. Robots are doing great work exploring our solar system, but eventually, we want to be able to put a person on the ground.
Now,
they
Sending
built
people to
it.
deep space destinations requires a lot of stuff, including water, shelter, fuel, spare parts, tools, and supplies. It's like a spacefaring RV. The farther you go and the longer the trip, the more you need, and that means moving a lot of mass.
So when you talk about getting past the pull of Earth's gravity, you need a bigger, more powerful rocket.
The Space Launch System is an all-new heavy-lift rocket that uses a combination of proven hardware and technology to make it more affordable. We can take the best from all we've learned from building rockets and combine that with cutting-edge tooling and manufacturing technology to build the most powerful rocket in history.
You can fly to really high orbits around the moon with this rocket without requiring any other assistance. But when we add an upper stage, we'll have an even bigger capacity.
Linda.
The larger evolved version of SLS can carry a habitat, larger solar array, additional propulsion, you name it. It's really a versatile rocket.
Open it up. Linda.
To get the astronauts beyond low Earth orbit, we need a new crew vehicle, Orion.
The Orion spacecraft is conical shaped, like Apollo was, but it's actually larger than Apollo and is capable of taking people farther into space than ever before. It can protect the crew of 4 for around 21 days and carry food, air, water, supplies, all the things the crew will need. Orion is the most advanced and versatile spacecraft ever made. It uses state-of-the-art technology, materials, and design processes based on more than 50 years of research and technology development.
The first crewed flight of Orion and the Space Launch System will be a flight around the moon during Exploration Mission 2. A crew of astronauts will launch on SLS, fly several orbits around the Earth, then perform a translunar injection, which will send them on a path from Earth orbit towards the moon.
Once the crew gets near the moon, Orion will pass within 60 miles of the surface, and from there, Orion can insert into a high lunar orbit, several thousand miles from the surface. The tools, the knowledge, and the experience that we have at our disposal today come from nearly 50 years of space exploration and ultimately benefit lives here on Earth.
Who knows what will come out of the scientific knowledge, discovery, and economic opportunities that result from deep space exploration?
We've just hit the tip of the iceberg in terms of human exploration. Now we need to explore deep space. To me, that's the goal, to expand humanity's presence beyond the Earth.
Exploring beyond has a deeper purpose, and it is a bolder mission than anything we've ever done before.
I believe that people still look to NASA and the United States for leadership in space. It takes courage and resolve and commitment. And when we leave Earth to explore our solar system, it will not be as any one nation or culture, but as citizens of Earth for all of humanity.
There's an alligator in the top right corner. There's a big alligator. Yeah, he's just chilling. That's right. Alrighty, folks, we gotta keep moving. Okay, to the front left of the bus, that roadway that goes to nowhere, that's our shuttle landing strip. It's about 3 miles long, one of the longest runways in the world. 15,000 feet of concrete, 1,000 foot runoff on either end, and it's the width of a football field, 300 foot wide. When the shuttle lands here, it has to line up over Australia because it takes the shuttle 1 hour to get from Australia to here. The shuttle travels at a speed of 17,500 miles an hour. If you were to take a 747 jetliner from here to Sydney, Australia, which is the north.
Hi. Amazing. It's amazing.
Only two people had to go through that tunnel, and that 32 inches wide. I've totally made it narrow, but it's still wider than any first-class airline seat in America today. But you didn't have to go through that tunnel. Only the commander and the lunar excursion monitor pilot were the only ones that had to go through. I'm pretty sure the command monitor pilot went through the look at it. And when the moonwalkers went down, the command monitor the second half of the first. The
touch the moon.
The systems needed to go to the moon required the development of new technologies that shrunk electronic components, both in size and power consumption, as well as greatly increased computing power. These investments by NASA led to the development of microprocessors and integrated circuitry, which not only supported the Apollo program, but spawned the semiconductor industry, giving the United States a lead in that particular field that lasted for decades. The spin-off legacy continues today, with many new ideas coming from the International Space Station. By applying the exacting standards required for space station assembly, a team developed a system that can actually operate inside a magnetic resonance imaging machine, or MRI. According to a doctor that now uses the system, the neural arm operates at a level of precision that is overwhelmingly superior to what the best surgeon may be able to do. Farmers in the Midwest are now leveraging images from the International Space Station Agricultural Camera, known as ISIC, to monitor crop growth for disease and fertility differences. Unlike some satellites, ISIC uses infrared sensors unaffected by cloud cover to capture images of the Earth from space, enabling far more productive farming. As you have learned during the course of your tour, space is also fast becoming a viable place for private industry to invest money, time, and effort right alongside the federal government.
Okay, folks, I'd like to take a moment to point out the southern bald eagle's nest, look to the right of the bus up to the power lines, follow them south to the tallest cluster of trees. This is power pole number 3 that we're passing right here. Follow it south to the tallest cluster of trees. Power pole number 2, and follow it south to the tallest cluster of trees. Power pole number 1 in the tallest cluster of trees right here. Look to the right of the tallest tree in the cluster. In that gap, you'll see a tree at the back of the power lines with a big basket in it. Right there, folks. Right there, folks. Now that nest is the size of a king-size mattress. It's 8 foot wide across at the top. It weighs in excess of 700 pounds. The Eagles have used that nest over the last 50 years and still are using it. We have 15 active nests across the Space Center. That is the largest nest. The Eagles tend to live 20 to 30 plus years. They mate once for life. They take separate vacations, but they come back every year at the same time. The typical season for the eagle is September to May, and they fly north for the summer. It's hot in Florida. The eagles tend to lay 1 to 3 eggs a year, and after 5 months they start kicking everybody out the nest. Some people say that these are the secrets to their longevity. Could be. Kennedy Space Center and the National Wildlife Refuge sits on 140,000 acres. The Center of Operation uses less than 7,000 of those acres, leaving the remaining for the wildlife. We are the second largest in the state of Florida, behind the Everglades. We have over 500 species of wildlife and 330 species of bird alone. We also have 117 species of fish, and we are home to 14 species on the threatened or endangered list. Just to name a few, we have the Kemp Ridley sea turtle, West Indian manatee, blue scrub jay, 4 types of sea tortoise, and the wood stork. A comparison, we are 220 square miles, or a fifth the size of the state of Rhode Island. Sometimes to the right side of the bus, that far right side at the water's edge, you can see we'll see an alligator. If I see one, I'll call him out.
More businesses are entering the space arena, helping to stimulate demand for space access more than ever. NASA's commercial partners, who are working to provide cargo delivery and crew transportation to and from the station, are also gaining valuable experience needed to open new markets for satellite salvage and repair and space tourism. Ultimately, everything we learn from operating in low Earth orbit will make it possible for crews to safely travel beyond Earth orbit to the Moon, an asteroid, and Mars. Coming soon, another important mission to Earth orbit is the delivery of NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, the scientific successor to both the Hubble Space Telescope and the Spitzer Space Telescope. The James Webb has 2 main scientific goals: studying the birth and evolution of galaxies and learning about the formation of stars and planets. Some of the most distant objects in the universe, beyond the reach of current ground and space-based instruments, will be seen by this telescope, including the formation of galaxies. Built on a successful 50-year legacy of discovery and exploration, the John F. Kennedy Space Center, America's multi-user spaceport, is poised to serve as humankind's gateway to space for decades to come. Thank you for spending time with us, and please enjoy the remainder of your experience here at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex.
Good night. It's 2:42. Exploration Space is back there, but it's closed right now due to construction. In the Pyramid-shaped building climax theaters. You got two giant first screens. Chapter 3, the first tells you about journeys in space, narrated by TV legend Sir Patrick Stewart. The second
running the battery. Hi there. How you doing? I think maybe I could live here. This is so beautiful. So relaxing.